Welcome to the Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode. We are the Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast, going over our waivers show, recording this during the Monday Night Football doubleheader. We just got the unfortunate news that Mike Evans is out the remainder of the game, so it's always fun to do that while we start recording. But Chris joins me this evening. How are we doing tonight, Chris?
I'm doing good. Obviously, horrific news. Definitely don't want to see it. We are far too injury-ridden already. We need to just calm down on the injuries, please. Football gods, if you're hearing this, please just calm down. But overall, I'm having a good night. What about you, Matt?
Doing well. This week is a little bit of a mixed reaction. My redraft team seems to be in the gutter. Not really going to be able to climb my way out, most likely, but we continue moving on because that's fantasy football. You don't give up until the very end of the game, end of the season. So keep pushing. That's what we're here for. We're going to go over our waivers to help you out this week. There are no teams on waivers. So you have your full allotment of players minus the injuries that were being ravaged in this year. But let's, what do you say? We just dive right into it?
Yeah. I just want to clarify he meant bye, by the way. There's no teams on bye this week.
Yes, no teams on bye. We got everybody. And waivers, here we go. All right, so with no teams being on bye, it's going to be a little bit different. This isn't really a good bye week, unfortunately, despite all the injuries. Main guy that I want to bring up here is Tua Tagovailoa. Open up practice this Wednesday. Rostered in 45% of leagues, going up against the Cardinals. That is one of the best matchups you could have in your first game potentially back in the NFL. Still questionable. May or may not play, but please play, because these Dolphins are awful without Tua. Snoop Huntley, no good. No good at all. Tim Boyle, definitely not good. I have drafted Tyreek Hill in my redraft league. It's part of the reason why I'm 1-6, or about to be 1-6. He's basically been eliminated from my team. But it's Tyreek Hill, so you feel forced into playing him, and I made a mistake this week. I should not have played him. I should have played Tank Bigsby over him. That's on me. But do you think Tua is going... First, is he going to play? And second, are we going to see Tua come back to form? Or is this just going to be a lost year for the Dolphins? What do you think?
All right. So, here is my take on Tua. I'd like to think that he comes back this week. Okay? He's gonna come back shining better than ever. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule here. Okay? Brings me a lot of confidence. After Arizona, you got a tough week against Buffalo. Not the greatest. But then after the Rams, the Raiders, New England, Green Bay, the Jets, a couple tough defenses. Then you got Houston and San Francisco and Cleveland. Showed a lot of kind of weak points, I would say, so far. And that's it. That's week 17 right there, Cleveland. That is the end of most fantasy football seasons. I'm pretty confident in the kind of the future of Tua here. If he plays week 8, which I like to think he is, this guy, I would lock him. I would lock him personally in my lineup for a good while at the very least. Maybe stream him with somebody else against Buffalo, and maybe also Green Bay or the Jets, depending on how he looks. But I liked what I saw before the injury. I like Tyreek. So, I am inclined to think that he'll be back at a comparable form.
You dropping Anthony Richardson for him if he's out on waivers?
Matt, I can't drop Anthony Richardson for him. I've already dropped him.
Fair enough.
That was rude. That was rude. But The answer is yes. The answer is yes, probably. Yeah.
I think I'm there too.
We need that on a
It's
clip, guys.
yeah,
We need
it's
that.
sad.
Do you want to talk about it? You want to talk about it?
I mean, this is an open space, but it's just it's been hard to watch, and I've been the Anthony Richardson truther because he hasn't had the snaps and all. But for fantasy, like I brought up that you should sit Patrick Mahomes. If I'm willing to do that, I got to tell you to sit Anthony Richardson. You can't play him. You can't play him until you see signs of life, and he's got some brutal matchups going. So I would rather take the shot on Andy Dalton, and if Tua's out there, grab both of those guys and just see what happens. Because I know you're hurting at quarterback, because a lot of us are. It's been rough out there, so I think that's the move I would make. Another quarterback going this week that is available. He's rostered in only 13% of leagues. Gets a juicy matchup against the Panthers. Bo Nix didn't do a ton last week passing, but 10 for 75 on the ground. That's 60 or more rushing yards in back-to-back weeks. I know the Panthers just allowed Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, talk about him coming back from the past, just torch them. So you start everyone against the Panthers. You just do it because it is a very successful winning strategy. If you are needy at quarterback, Tua's gone. You have Anthony Richardson. Are you picking up Bo Nix?
I would
and how
actually
much are you spending?
I would go as far to say that if you do not have like a top 10 quarterback, I would argue you pick up any quarterback for the most part. Maybe if you're not the Giants going up against the Panthers. I'm going to be honest. I think I like almost every single one. I'm throwing probably not like an insane amount because I don't intend on keeping him for a while, but like
And with no teams on bye. So
exactly, yeah. I mean, I'll probably get him if I throw in like I don't know $6, probably at most here. But yeah, I strongly encourage you to follow like anybody to follow the Carolina Panthers schedule. Just pick whatever QB they're going up against. I actually think it'll do you wonders.
yeah, agreed. I also think Drake May should be brought up here too because he's had 2 weeks that he's looked good. No picks last week. And I know they lost the game. The offense had some trouble, but he looked good. And I think follow the players that look good. And if they pass the eye test, I think there's a good argument for that.
Might I say that Drake May, in my eyes at least, looks like, feels like, and plays like what the Jets thought they were getting in Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
I find there are similarities, but in the sense of where Zach Wilson kind of fell off, this guy shines. And I feel as long as that the consistency remains. I mean, he played against Houston, it was a decent defense, and then Jacksonville. The real test is this week against the Jets, and that defense, in my opinion. But yeah, I like what I see from Drake May.
Yeah, and don't hear what I'm not saying. You don't pick him up to play him this week going against the Jets. You pick him up just to kind of to see what happens because the schedule will open up a little bit in the future, and it's better to get him now when no one's fighting for him than later when everyone needs a quarterback. We're going to play a little game here of what more hypothetical stuff here going into the running backs because there's not really that much to do with the running backs that you're going to start this week, but want to bring up a couple of handcuffs because now we're getting to the time where handcuffs are going to be very important. Whether you want to get your own or the strategy I like to do is get someone else's. These are all just dart throw players for the most part. So getting a handcuff right now will help you. Should someone go down, you have a trade piece to get to someone. You could trade them to the player who has that person's handcuff. It's just one of the strategies I like doing just because it's a blue chip. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's not going to cost you much. Do it now and just hold on to it. It's worth a shot. So first one here, I want to go with Braylon Allen 41% rostered. If Breece Hall goes down, where are we valuing Braylon Allen? Is he top 12? Is he top 6? Top 24? Where do you see him standing? And is he a flex currently?
Top 10, no flex.
Okay. I'm about the same. I think it would be, for me, I think I would rather put him closer to like, top 15. I'd put the line there. If now this is assuming Breece Hall gets injured and misses some time, but he has shown flashes and he could work his way, depending on the matchup, into a flex worthy bye week replacement. But right now, not so much. Tyler Algier, for me, I'm going to answer this. He is a flex play, 39% rostered. Bijan goes down, top 12, top 8. What do you think?
How painful is that for you to say that he's a flex play, being a Bijan owner?
Don't feel great. Not gonna lie, doesn't feel good, but it's sometimes truth hurts.
I'm in the same kind of boat here. I'll go top 10 again with Tyler Algier. I have a lot more confidence in Algier than Braylon Allen, only because I've seen Algier actually do it before, like for a full season, like be the number one on that team. So I have a little more confidence there. I think if I'm desperate, Algier is a flex play. I wouldn't normally do it, but like bye weeks, injuries, whatever the case may be, I could be convinced. I could be convinced.
Gotcha. All right, next guy, Jaylen Warren on the Pittsburgh Steelers is 41% rostered. Looked finally to be healthy. Going against the Jets in Sunday Night Football. Looked pretty good. Didn't get the most work, but he still looked good, I think. Najee goes down. Where do you value him? It's kind of a double-edged sword because you got Russell Wilson / Justin Fields. I think Russell Wilson's going to hold on to the job for a couple weeks. So
I'm going to go top 20 on this. It's a little too volatile. He's not volatile in a bad way. It's far too inconsistent on that offense right now, and I think he's talented. I just don't know if the way that he's getting utilized is kind of where they're kind of making the most use right now. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't seem right to me. So I'll go top 20. I'm not flexing him at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he did play 51% of the snaps last night, 12 rush attempts for 44 yards, so sub 4 yards per carry. Not the best, but did work a little bit in the passing game. I'm just want to bring him up because these things happen, unfortunately, as we're dealing with through 7 weeks of the NFL. People go down. Next guy here, Roschon Johnson. I'm surprised this number is not higher. He's only rostered in 15% of leagues. Now, there was a time a few weeks ago before DeAndre Swift learned how to play football again that everyone was like, Roschon's going to take over. He's going to take over. And now all of a sudden he's done. I don't know. I just feel like that's not a winning strategy. And with Roschon Johnson, I mean, he does have the goal line role. I mean, they've given Swift a couple of red zone goal line looks and hasn't been able to convert most of them. Roschon, I think, has converted most of his. So he might be relegated to just the goal line back. But should DeAndre Swift go down, which history says that is probable, because that's the game for DeAndre Swift, I think this is an opportunity to get someone on a team that's on the rise. I mean, the Bears are looking like they're starting to figure things out, and I think getting Roschon Johnson here would be a very good potential flex play on a weekly basis, as well as, some upside baked into it. So what are your thoughts on Roschon Johnson?
I'll go top 15, I guess. I'm not excited. Despite the lack of DeAndre Swift early on in the season, I'm looking at these snap percentages, man, and they're just not encouraging considering that DeAndre Swift started so slowly. I don't know. Top 15, I'm not flexing him. I can't do that, I don't think. It's just something's not. It's sorry. I'm like trying to formulate even like what I think about Roshan Johnson. It's such a confusing prospect. I gotta be honest with you. Like he gets he has 3 touchdowns. He's got 2 in 1 week, which gave him 14.5 fantasy points. But that was against Carolina. He has 1 the week before against LA. He had that 1 week before that, which he did well, 10.2. But 37, 37, 31, and 27 are his snap percentages for the 4 weeks that he's like actually played and been on the field. He wasn't there weeks 1 and 2. He had a bye week, week 7, going up against Washington. Now I don't know, man. It's weird. I'll go top 15. That's definitely more of a guy I'm like willing to sit back on and just kind of almost see how it develops. A guy that might not even be willing of taking the handcuff, even if I have DeAndre Swift. I think I'd just rather take maybe another high injury risk handcuff, or I don't know, bet my chances on a future waiver wire pickup. I'm not sure.
Just want to go over the schedule for him really quick because it is really juicy. The next 3 weeks, he's got the Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. All 3 of those teams rank bottom 8. So they allow the 8th most, within the 8th most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. So I think there's enough there to flex him for the next couple of weeks if you're desperate. Buys are coming. This week we don't have bye weeks, but they're coming quick. So just wanted to throw him out there too. Justice Hill, who we just witnessed score a touchdown, 18% rostered. This is basically, you're not going to flex him unless you're absolutely desperate because his role in the offense just isn't there. Just sometimes players score when their role is very limited, but only 18% rostered. If Derrick Henry goes down, which I know that sounds crazy because he's just insane, but there could be a possibility where he does. I mean, last year, look, Tajay Spears cut into his work because he was an aging running back and starting to, had that foot injury. It doesn't seem like he can break, but if he should, I think they would basically pass over a lot of the work to Justice Hill. They'll end up bringing up another back just because they have to. I don't think Justice Hill is going to have that RB1 workload like Derrick Henry does because I think he would crumble into nothing. But what do you think about Justice Hill?
He's a top 12 running back if Derrick Henry were to go down.
Really?
So here's my thinking. I agree that he will not get the RB1 like carries, so to speak. He'll probably split that, whether it be Keaton Mitchell or if they bring someone else in. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm not the Ravens, okay? But where Justice Hill shines is he is this lethal pass-catching running back, okay? So he can take runs and he can catch passes. He will be instantly elevated. They need another man on the attack, clearly, for that offense to function, okay? The offense only does well when they utilize every single piece they have, and we find that it falters when they just choose not to do so. And I say choose literally because I feel like they sometimes just like to not. I'm not an NFL like coach or like a play caller or anything, but it seems like there are just times they just choose to not do what gives them success. But I digress.
They did it against the Chiefs in the playoffs last year. They were like,
no.
we our identity is run the ball, and they didn't run the ball. So they do crazy.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah. But yeah, I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is that they have to adapt to new things. Justice Hill will enter this Rashad White-like sort of state where he is a pass-catching running back. He'll get you those yardage points on your team, which is very, very valuable in the running back position. I think that alone will make him a top 12. However, I will say that's contingent if Derrick Henry on how long he's out for. I think if he's out for an extended period of time, I would consider going from top 12 to like top 15, top 16. Personally, a 1 to 2 week, maybe at most 3 week stint, they can utilize him as much as they want because right now he's an expendable piece in that offense.
Yeah.
But if he's out for a long time, they gotta save him. But yeah, that's
Gotcha.
that's
One more player here. Well, there's like a little bit of a tier break in running back handcuffs. Ty Chandler, 32% rostered. If Aaron Jones gets injured, which he has not been the epitome of health throughout his career, if that happens, I know they just brought back Cam Akers, but I think after this past week, I think I'm more in agreement with your take on it, where that was just more they need running back depth because they were undefeated. Thank you, Lions, for doing that. But they needed something afterwards, and I think Ty Chandler brings something to this offense as a pass catching running back that Cam Akers definitely isn't going to bring. And should Aaron Jones go down, I think that he will get a majority of that work. Cam Akers will then, trade a little bit of work with him, but I think all in, I think Ty Chandler's the guy to have direct backup to Aaron Jones, and I also think you can flex him in some good matchups if they're looking to be trailing. I think that's where he will be on the field a little bit more. So, are you flexing Ty Chandler? Are you rostering him? Is he worth the shot, or are you just staying away?
I'm definitely not flexing him. I would rate him I'll give him top 30. I'm gonna be honest. The addition of Cam Akers concerns me. As I said on our last episode here, it is mostly the Cam Akers edition is anything beyond the Aaron Jones, right? They realize they need something there because he was out, and Ty Chandler really didn't do too much with his opportunities. So I mean, I'm looking at the game here against the Jets, 63% snap percentage, 14 carries for 30 yards is not exactly the shining star that you want. Now, it is against the Jets. Fantastic defense, 100%. I totally get that.
You mean the Lions, right? They played the Lions this week.
No, I'm talking about the game that Aaron Jones got injured in. I know they played.
Gotcha.
I know they played. But he played 18% of snaps. I wasn't gonna. Yeah, not gonna bring that. I mean, Aaron Jones kind of went off that week. I'm not gonna really hold him to any I'm not gonna hold him to that at all. Now against the Jets, where he had the biggest limelight, didn't really make too much of it. I don't know where this stands between Cam Akers and Ty Chandler, so I'm gonna kind of wait and see. That's where I'm kind of at.
For me, it's 100% Ty Chandler. Cam Akers hasn't been good in a while.
You're so right.
I'm
but
just
neither
pointing that out. Yeah,
you're so right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. I just don't want to take the chance that the Vikings are like you, Mr. Cam Akers, you are a number
Gotcha.
2. Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
I'm Kevin McConnell.
Yeah. All right. So this is where we're going to group all these guys together because you cannot flex any of these guys, most likely. I know one of the guys goes tonight, so we'll see. Kamani Vidal, Ray Davis, Blake Corum, and Jalen Wright. Out of all of those guys, let's say all starters go down. Who is the guy you want? For me, it's Ray Davis at number 1, Blake Corum at 2, probably Kamani Vidal, and then Jalen Wright. That would be my order.
That must pain you to say Ray Davis.
For what? Ray Davis? Yeah. Yeah, It wasn't his fault. It wasn't. He was good. It was Ty Johnson who got the quote unquote start, and then here, go sit at the bench and let the rookie do things. It's all right.
I'll give the nod to Ray Davis as well. I'll make Blake Corum the second just because there's a slight injury history with Kyron Williams, and I think you can probably rank Jalen Wright and Vidal at the same place. I'm out to I don't pick one over the other. Situation.
With Tua coming back, I mean, Jalen Wright could be sneaky. I think Kamani Vidal and Jalen Wright are very, very sneaky ads right now because I think they both could be in for some increased workload very soon. So we'll see. All right, wide receivers. We're going to run through these really quick. There's not a whole lot, but with the news, so let's run through the news really quick. DK Metcalf week to week with an MCL sprain. You had Brandon Ayuk go out with injury, torn ACL, and I believe it was the MCL as well, so he's done for the year. It's just rough. There's so many injuries. We had Zay Flowers get banged up tonight. I saw him rolling around. His ankle got rolled up on. Mike Evans is now out with a hamstring injury. He's probably going to be week to week as well. He was injured coming in. Deebo Samuel has pneumonia, so he may not play this week. It's just when we think there can't be any more injuries, right? It's like, nope, here you go. We reloaded. More injuries. So it's tough. We get it. We're going through the same thing. I have DK Metcalf. And that hurts me because that's my only really good wide receiver. Hopefully, if Tua comes back, he can resurrect the corpse of Tyreek Hill. But we'll see. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Both mostly rostered. Watson is 52%. Doubs is 44%. For me, I'm going Doubs. I think he's got a couple more targets. I like his style of play better. He's the safer option in my opinion. Watson is obviously the big play guy, and Jordan Love is now a gunslinger, so he's really good at getting the ball where it needs to go. But I'm just nervous about Watson because the injury history with him, and that might be, a cop-out answer, but I'd rather go with Romeo Doubs. I think he's the more trustworthy player on the Packers moving forward. Is that how you view it, or are you on the Watson side?
I'm actually 50-50. I like both almost equally the same for different reasons, and for that I'll kind of stay 50-50. I'm going to say, yeah, Reed's definitely the guy I would prefer, obviously, but I think Watson and Dobbs are, I'll be happy with either.
Okay. Jerry Jeudy, and let's group Cedric Tillman together. Judy is 48% rostered. Tillman is unrostered in most leagues. Deshaun Watson done for the year. It's either going to be DTR, or my hope is that Jameis Winston is going to get the nod in Cleveland. And we know what Jameis does. He just throws the ball. YOLO ball after YOLO ball after YOLO ball. It's wonderful for fantasy, terrible for an NFL franchise. That's why he's on his third or fourth team in a couple of years. But any of those guys were the speculative ad because I think their target share is going to go up because they're going to be throwing the ball more. Chubb is back, but they can't hand the offense directly to Chubb in his second week back from a catastrophic knee injury and say, here, you are the offense now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the sneaky ad is Cedric Tillman. I have nothing against Jerry Jeudy at all, besides the fact that I know that he probably won't be on the Browns forever. Whereas Tillman is coming into his sophomore year into the league. This is what I think more teams should be doing, especially now that your quarterback is out. You should be trying to get your skill positions better suited to this sort of environment of the NFL. Fantastic. 12 targets, 8 receptions, 81 yards. That's awesome. He's not going to do that every week. But I think, moving forward, they should keep a sort of consistency. Will he get 12 targets again? No. But I anticipate 6 to 8, hopefully, every single week. And I'm okay with that. That's a solid flex play. Jerry Jeudy, on the other hand, 5 targets, 1 catch. Not great. Especially now there's Jameis Winston, yes, is the gunslinger of gunslinger. But I don't know if I want to trust that to be super consistent. I'd rather take the shot at somebody I know that they will try to develop rather than someone who might not be in the team for an extended period of time.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'd take the ad on Tillman over Jeudy. I know they just traded for Jerry Jeudy, but he's been there and hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot. So take the shot on Tillman. He looked good last week as well. So going up against the pretty bad Bengals defense, despite what they just did to the Browns, that was more Deshaun Watson type thing. So next guys here, because now Debo and Ayuk are dealing with their own things, we have a pair of 49ers. We got Juwan Jennings, who was out last week, 29% rostered, and Ricky Pearsall, 13% rostered. First game back from being shot during an attempted armed robbery attempt, so good to see him out on the field doing things, but which guy are you taking a shot on? For me, it's Juwan Jennings, just because of familiarity with Brock Purdy, and we've seen what he was able to do with players on the field. Ricky Pearsall is still an unknown. He could be great. He was a first-round drafted wide receiver, and unfortunately, he had that off-the-field incident, and now his NFL career was put on hold for a little bit, but now he's back. So, which guy are you taking, and what are you willing to spend? Because let's say you're the Debo or Ayuk manager. You need a wide receiver, and you need it bad. So what's the most you're willing to spend on both of these guys?
I'll spend $16 on Ricky Pearsall. Probably at most here. That's who I'm going to go with. I have Juwan Jennings, fine choice, but he had that one boom week 3, and then mediocrity, week 4. 11.8 points is a serviceable sort of thing. But then, 2.3, 5.7, 5.7 the week before the super duper boom week. It's just, yes, the boom week is great and all, but there is definitely more of an avenue of getting Ricky Pearsall, a former first round pick, right? Yes, coming back from getting shot, but I don't think I'm hoping that's not going to hamper him too much. I'm hoping in. They're going up against Dallas this upcoming week, who truthfully look like a very interesting, perplexing team, which brings me such a smile to my face. The defense looks lost at times and then is found at times. So I don't know what the deal is right now. But I'm hoping that is a good opportunity for him to get his foot on the ground. So I'm going to take my bet on Ricky Pearsall.
All right. Yeah, for me, I'm willing to go up to at least $20, $25 or so for Juwan Jennings, because I think he's going to be, again, Mr. Necessary in this offense. With Debo dealing with his sickness and Ayuk being out, they're going to need to turn someone. CMC hasn't played a game. He's still a couple weeks out. Most likely we're not seeing him until mid-November at this point. This offense is going to be changing, and I think they're going to try to give Brock Purdy's someone that can do something, and we've seen Juwan Jennings be able to be that guy in this offense before. So, last guy on the wide receivers I want to bring up, partly because of the matchup this week, but also increased workload. Troy Franklin on the Denver Broncos. I think this is about the time you're going to want to pick him up, because I think this is about the time we start seeing some of these rookies that have been behind a couple players, getting acclimated to the NFL ball versus college. This is about the time. Sean Payton has said it before as well. He wants his young guys to step up and start doing things in this offense, so he's going to give them a little bit more work. We saw it last week, and he looked good on the targets he had. I think this week is another test week where you have a really good matchup. You want to see if Bo Nix can be that guy to elevate the offense as well as bring in the rookies. So I think this is about the time where you're going to want to pick him up. I think you can even play him this week. I think he's a flex play this week with wide receiver 2 upside. I think that's, with this matchup, with the way Bo Nix has been playing, I think this is a good opportunity to get a potential rookie wide receiver who is starting to play a little bit more and get more looks in this offense. What do you think?
I completely agree. I'm not going to dwell too much on it. I agree with almost every single point that you said.
Perfect. Now moving on to tight ends, there's really just 2. Tight ends have obviously been pretty rough, but want to highlight some things. You've heard me the past couple weeks just targets to the tight end position. This past week, it paid off pretty well with Zach Ertz was my tight end start of the week, and he did pretty darn good. Only 4 targets, but caught a touchdown and 40 yards, so happy about that. Again, 4 for 40. That's all you're looking for, 4 for 40. If he comes down for a touchdown, even better. Hunter Henry, 31% rostered, plays against the Jets, who can be beat by the tight end position. You know, they're mostly focusing on the wide receivers and the run game, but Hunter Henry looked really good, and he's building rapport with Drake May. So I think that's a really good opportunity. He went nine targets, 8 receptions for 92 yards going against the Jaguars, which don't take it away. I'm not taking it away from him, but the Jags do kind of suck on defense. So it's kind of not really the best thing. But it's always good to see. If you played him this week, you were very, very happy. Kate Otten is another guy playing right now, 38% roster, gets the Falcons next week. If you had to prioritize one of these guys, which one are you doing?
I'm going to say this depends on the injury of Mike Evans. I'm going to be honest.
Assume he's week to week. He's not playing next week.
Okay, it might be Kate Otten then. Solely because the Jets defense is better. That's it. Otherwise, I trust Hunter Henry a little more. He's getting the targets and whatnot. Last week was a big boon as well, but I think if Mike Evans is not playing next week, I'll choose Kate Otten.
The Falcons do allow a little bit more to the tight end position, so I agree. Hunter Henry is still a guy. I think he's going to be part of this offense. He's going to get targets every week. So if that's what you need, if you need floor, I think you can go with Hunter Henry. He'll be okay. Kate Otten, now that Mike Evans is probably going to miss some time, it's yet to be seen because it just happened by the time we're recording this. But we'll see. Kate Otten does perform better when there's someone else missing from the offense. Going into defensive streamers, there's a few this week I want to highlight. The Detroit Lions going against the Tennessee Titans. Is it Will Levis or no? Because I don't think it matters at all because Mason Rudolph isn't that good either. So I think they're one of the top plays. The Chargers going against the Saints. They may or may not have Derek Carr and or Chris Olave. They already don't have Rashid Shaheed. They just signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Like, that's going to save them. Spencer Rattler looked really bad. This offensive line did a terrible job last week. This team is in shambles. So target those defenses going against those teams because, how much longer are we going to have Dennis Allen as coach?
I'll give it 4 weeks at most.
I was going to say 2. I think 2 more losses and he's done. It's bad. He got dealt a bad hand, but he also kind of started it from the beginning of the season, just doing random stupid things that coaches should never do. But Houston Texans going against the Colts. We already kind of talked about it. Anthony Richardson might not be that guy, unfortunately. It hurts me to say, but
I can
might
see
not be
the
that
defeat
guy.
in your eyes. I really can.
It's just, he only completed 10 passes last week. That's pretty rough. I know I did see a few drops, but still, it's been really bad. I'm sorry. It hurts.
I would like to say, right, for Matt and all my other Anthony Richardson believers out there, for a redraft perspective, you can drop him. He probably won't be relevant. If you're in Dynasty, however, do not be hitting that sell button. Like right now, don't do that. You're not going to get what you
sell
want.
Them now.
No, you're never going to.
No one,
You're going to want. Yeah, what are you going to do? A third? No, you're not going to want that. A second? No, come on. Keep him. He will improve. I'm pretty confident in the cycle. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how much more time he's in to need. We'll probably see glimmers, but yeah, just remain strong. For a bit, my Dynasty Anthony Richardson owners. Luckily, I'm not one of them, so I don't have to worry about it. But remain strong. I digress.
We try. And the Green Bay Packers defense going against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. That should be fine because the Jaguars are not very good, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. So definitely start them because I think they're good. Real quick, before we get out of here, I just want to go over a few drop candidates that we received. Antonio Gibson. We'll just run down the list real quick. There's about 4 or 5 of them. Antonio Gibson, drop or keep? Ramondre Stevenson
Drop.
hasn't looked that good. Dropping him? Okay,
No, don't even have to finish. Don't have to finish the statement. Just drop him.
Calvin Ridley. This one's tough.
It is tough. Drop him.
Just dropping everyone today.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, probably drop.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton.
I'll keep that.
Okay.
I'll take the chance that he turns it around now that Bo Nix is finally starting to come to form a little bit more. I'll take a slight chance on that. That's okay.
Josh Downs.
I'll keep that on the sole fact that I'm hoping Joe Flacco comes back. If I need roster spots, though, he's the first one to get dropped. But if I can keep him, I will.
All right, so let's put this to the test here then, okay?
Okay.
Juwan Jennings is on waivers. Would you drop Josh Downs for Juwan Jennings?
No.
Okay. What about for Ricky Pearsall?
That's a tough one. No, that's man.
Romeo Dobbs.
Yes. Yeah.
Cedric Tillman.
No.
Troy Franklin.
No.
Okay. All right, so I think we had a decent line. But I just wanted to bring those guys up just to kind of see what everyone is thinking. Those were submitted on our email address at the Heroes of Fantasy Football at gmail.com. So send those things over. We will answer them on the show. That's going to wrap things up for us, though. So those are our Week 8 waivers. It feels weird to say that we're in Week 8 already because it does not feel
nuts,
like
dude.
that.
It's nuts.
We're almost halfway done, man. Like,
Don't
this
say
is
that,
rough.
man. I don't want it to be done.
I know.
I want to make so much fun.
Just please, NFL scriptwriters, can you stop injuring players? Like, just write that out. Just
No, literally.
From here on out, just no injuries. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's good. Let's make things make sense again. Okay?
Please.
Please.
I'm begging you.
Please. Just stop hurting me. But either way, that is it. So everyone, please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next show. Good luck. Have fun.
See ya.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the Heroes FF.